Salut! For 50 days, Ryan, Cheyenne, and Haley are going to all of the 50 states in America, and for each state they go to, I am reading one book that happens in that state. Today they are in North Carolina, but before I talk about the book for North Carolina, I am going to reorganize all of my shelves to put in a bunch of thrift store books that I got. And while I do that, I will be listening to my Snow White picture disc vinyl that I was gifted by Laura Corbett. Thank you again. I think by the time this video is posted, that vinyl unboxing will already be available on my YouTube channel if y'all want to check that out. Okay, time for the time lapse. And we did it. The library has been all reorganized. There are a few minor touch-ups that I'll want to do eventually, of putting nice little knickknacks to make the books a bit straighter and things of that nature. But for the most part, we got the hard part done. And I love how it looks. Oh my goodness. But okay, for the moment we have all been waiting for, North Carolina is unlocked. The book that I picked for North Carolina is Authentically, Izzy by Pepper Basham.
Wow!
This is another one I have been waiting to talk to you guys about. Pepper Basham writes a lot of books in the Blue Ridge Mountains and Scotland. Quite a few of her books, I don't believe, specify specifically what state in the Blue Ridge Mountains, but according to Google, Authentically, Izzy happens in North Carolina. I believe that to be true. I haven't read this since I think February-ish of 2023, so I've read quite a few books since this one, but I'm pretty sure it happened in North Carolina, which means that the other two books in this series also happened in North Carolina at some point. I will admit that these other two don't happen in North Carolina nearly as much as this one. Both of these, it's not much of a spoiler, take place mostly in the fictional island of Scotland called Skimar. And that is why this is called the Skimar series. Look at how cute it is, you guys. Like, this is one of the cutest book series that I have. How appealing is that? I mean, it is just so cute. I have so much to say about these. They are, this is probably my favorite contemporary romance series I have read so far. They're just such feel-good, not cheesy, faith-based romances, and each of them are really distinct while still feeling cohesive. This one is all about these two bookworms. I'll get more into this one since this is the book that I am picking for the state. This one is my favorite of the three though, because Penelope is me. This girl loves princesses, dresses, Julie Andrews, guys with accents, the theater. I mean, when I read this book, I literally made an extensive list of all the things that I have in common with Penelope. She's my girl, and this was her book, and it was amazing. This one, oh. And then this one is about Luke, that's Penelope's brother, and he's just such a nice, chill guy, and he ends up falling in love with a Scottish princess. Need I say more? Another super duper fun thing about these books is their epistolaries. Epistolaries, I meant to look up how to properly pronounce that earlier and I forgot. It's spelled like this, and it basically means it's a book that's written completely based on letters, or as the modern day example would be, emails. So this is pretty much all emails between Izzy and other characters. Let's see. This is probably a non-spoiler page. Look at that. See, those are all emails. And it's like that pretty much the whole book. I think there's a little bit at the end of this one is not in the epistolary format, but for the most part, this whole thing is written with emails, which is so cool. I've never read another book like this before. I'm gonna put a little pause on the epistolary topic, as I mentioned that I found this book because of Faith and Fables Book Club on Instagram. Interesting that we have 2 Faith and Fables Book Club picks in a row. Yesterday, the South Carolina book that I featured, I found because of Faith and Fables. And today's North Carolina book I found because of Faith and Fables. I think that's the first time we've had 2 states in a row have the same book club pick. So that's pretty fun. And because it was a book club pick, this was one of those times that Megan was able to allow us all to have a Zoom call with the author, Pepper Basham. And she mentioned this book called The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society by Marianne Schaffer and Annie Barrows, right here. I haven't read it yet, but she mentioned that this is also an epistolary. I was able to find it at a thrift store. Y'all, I lost my mind. I cannot wait to read this someday. This, I think, is the only other epistolary book that I've ever heard of. And it was also talked about in this book. I remember now that I'm talking about it. Pepper didn't just mention it in the Zoom call. Izzy literally talks about this book at the end of this book. I can't think of any fun facts for North Carolina that I discovered through these. But a fun thing about this one, at least, is all the book references. I want to read a few more classics and then give this a reread, because when I read this, I think it was before I even read Anne of Green Gables. It was before I read Lord of the Rings. I mean, I had seen the movies, but like, it is a bit different. Now that I have read quite a bit more and want to read a bit more, I want to reread this one because Izzy and her love interest Brody talk about book references all through here. Now, you don't need to understand all the references to enjoy it. As I mentioned when I first read it, I hadn't even read Anne of Green Gables or Lord of the Rings, and I was still able to super duper thoroughly enjoy this book. But I also cannot wait to read a few more classics and then reread this one to get a little extra dose of enjoyment. That is my North Carolina book. Before I go into the reading strategy, I want to talk about a new aspect of this challenge that I want to share with you guys. If you're watching Ryan and Haley's series, then you probably already know that they're trying to find the coolest Airbnb in America. And at some point in each video, Ryan and Haley will talk about where they're putting the new Airbnb on their list of their ranking for the Airbnbs in America. And my mom had this idea that it would be cool if I did the same thing, but with books, of like trying to find the best book in America. Now, as you guys know, I have a very wide range of genres and types of books that I like to read. So I am going to try to have it in 4 categories: adult fiction, adult nonfiction, kids fiction, kids nonfiction, best book in each of those categories, while also having just my personal overall favorite. I've got my computer. We can do the official ranking now. We'll start with the smaller category first, adult fiction. Number 1 right now is In His Steps by Charles M. Sheldon. I absolutely love this book, as I said, but I think I'm gonna have to put this at probably number 2 for adult fiction overall. In His Steps is still number 1. For me, In His Steps was just so impactful, like for Christian lifestyle, and really gets you to think about what would Jesus do. And because of that impact, I gotta keep that one as the adult fiction number 1. For my overall ranking, I'm gonna put this at number 3. I also might be changing up these rankings as we go, because it's really hard for me to try to have an overall ranking when I've got all these different kinds of books mixed together. But at the moment, I think I'm going to put this at number 3. That's above The General's Notorious Widow, because while that one was super fun and I loved it, I love the uniqueness of this being an epistolary. All the book references were amazing. And I do ship Brody and Izzy more than Lixie and, is See, I forgot the dude's name. His name escapes me. But I ship Izzy and Brody more. Because of all that, it's number 3. Not quite past the number 2 slot of Happy, Happy, Happy. If you guys watch the Louisiana video, you probably know just the Robertson books have meant so much to me. I had to keep that one in its number 2 slot. That's the ranking. Well, my ranking. Because here's the other addition to the challenge. I'm gonna put in the description a link to the list of all the books that I have read for the state so far, and you guys can vote on what you think is the best book in America. I'll try to put like a screen recording or picture thing up here so you guys can kind of see what the process might look like. You can scroll through all the books that I have read so far and hit the vote button, and whichever book has the most votes by the end of this challenge will be the number 1 community vote for the best book in America. And this is kind of off topic, but in some of my videos so far, I have made a comment on my outfit. Some days I'll try to dress for like the book theme or the state theme or something we're doing that day. And today I wanted to go for a nice dress, not just because I like dresses, but because of our girl Penelope over here who also loves dresses. She also loves hats, so I had to go for a hat as well. And normally when I'm getting myself ready for the day, you know, I get dressed and I do my makeup and then I do my hair and accessories. So before I put the hat on, I was like, you know, okay, yeah, we're looking good. And then I put the hat on, and the first thing that came to mind was Mojo Jojo's girlfriend from the Beatles. Like, there's a picture over here so you guys can see. And I considered changing my hat so it wouldn't look like his girlfriend, but then I was like, you know what? This is just kind of funny. I think I'll keep it. So I did, and I thought that was hilarious. Wanted to share. Now it's time for the reading strategy. So, they're in North Carolina today. I don't believe that Ryan hinted out where they're going next, but I kind of don't think it's gonna be Georgia. We'll just talk surrounding states, as I have been for a little while now. Georgia is covered, been waiting. Tennessee, also covered. We're good on that one. Virginia, oh my goodness. I think that we have quite a few books for Virginia. Revolutionary War, colonial times. I kind of like that era. So there's a few books to talk about on that day. Those are the only surrounding states. I mean, if Ryan's gonna do some more skipping around, I suppose I could mention that West Virginia, I believe I have 2 hours left on that audiobook. Guys, it just got like so sad. It's a middle grade book and I was not expecting them to get this sad. And then Maryland, if they skip over to Maryland, I've got a book for that one. I've got, if we go there. Actually, and Virginia and Maryland both have a book from a series that I have been wanting to talk to you guys about for like ages. And will probably remain the number 1 slot, maybe to the end. Okay, Virginia and Maryland, gotta look out. That is it for the reading strategy. I believe that is all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below if you're watching Ryan and Haley's series and what your favorite Airbnb is so far. Drop a comment if you have voted on what you think the best book in America is so far. Let me know what you're currently reading, and you guys have like a lot to comment now. And I will see you guys in the next video. Ciao!